Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 23 of the P&J F1 Formula 1 chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington, and sitting beside me is a man who vehemently believes that slick tyres have tread on them when they don't because they're slick. But even he could see that Max Verstappen was braking to let Lewis Hamilton by. It's my co-host, JB. JB, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Neil Crompton lied to me. He said there was tread on slick tyres.
Yeah, well, Neil Crompton also believes in the 40-point Petter's
If there was
suspension chest, too.
if there was tread on slick tyres, I guess Lewis could have stopped faster. But we'll never know.
We'll never know. And we've got a special guest this week. We have a third wheel, a third amigo. He's a fan of the channel, and he's asked if he can come along. And because JB and I need all the help we can get, we've said yes. And so, hello, Longhorn. How are you, my friend?
I'm swell. What a race we just got to watch. I picked a good one to jump on board.
You did. You picked the most explosive goddamn race. Holy crap.
Yeah, what a race that was.
Oh, utter chaos. Like, we've been waiting for shit to hit the fan, and we knew it was coming, and now shit is hitting the fan.
And it's picked the perfect time of the season to hit the fan.
Yeah, one race to go now.
It's lined up so perfectly for that last race to go down to the wire. Like, everything has just gone like a domino effect to get to that last race.
It's like as if this season just couldn't get any better, and it keeps getting better.
And there's only it's only one race left.
Oh my god.
And this is the closest the championship has been, what, since 2008? 2007?
Yeah. Yep. Equal points.
You know, this is what Formula 1 fans have been waiting for so long.
And it's not inter-team. It's not Mercedes versus Mercedes.
It's Red Bull Honda versus Mercedes.
Yes.
It's what we've been wanting for so long.
And it's drama because it's not only the racing and some of the driving, there's politics everywhere. And it wouldn't be Formula 1 without the goddamn politics, right?
Yeah, Michael Massey.
We'll get to him.
We will get to him later. Anyway, so we're going to start off with the race classification. So coming in first place was Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. Second place was Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Third place was Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Fourth was Esteban Ocon in the Alpine. How good was he today?
Brilliant. He was my driver of the day.
So unlucky at the end.
Yeah.
Fifth place was Daniel Ricciardo. He actually came good in this race, believe it or not.
And again, I don't want to keep highlighting McLaren's bad luck, but Lando Norris would have been up there if that first red flag hadn't happened, or the second, or whatever.
I'm just more curious as to how Fox Motorsports is going to spin it. You know what they're like.
They'll be fine because it's Ricciardo that finished ahead of Norris.
Yeah, but they'll still sit there and make up something for clickbait. In sixth place was Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. He kind of had the
AlphaTauri's had pace most of the weekend.
He flew under the radar.
I think
all weekend.
More unlucky for Gasly was Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah.
Because he had genuine pace.
Yeah.
But
in seventh place was Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Eighth was Carlos Sainz in the other Ferrari.
I'll be honest, I expected more from them.
I did too, but, I mean, they were in the thick of it.
Yeah.
They really were in the thick of it.
And for the first time in for fucking ever, a McLaren finished ahead of both of them.
Yeah.
It's not going to save us, but a McLaren finished ahead of both of you. So suck shit, because I'm not going to be able to say that again for the rest of the year.
Yeah. In ninth was Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. He actually drove like someone who... He knows he's not in F1, so he's just enjoying it.
That's pressure-free driving.
That's right.
That's what Valtteri is doing now that he knows he's not going to be at Mercedes next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lando Norris is in 10th in the McLaren.
Unlucky.
He didn't have a great day at the office.
Well, because, and we'll fucking rant about this too later, the red flag rule.
Yep.
He went from 6th to 14th because of that rule. You know, we'll get to it.
In 11th was Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. He had a rather scrappy day at the office. He
Both
was,
those Astons did.
yeah. 12th was Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. 13th was Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. He didn't have a great day at the
He
office.
spun.
Yeah, he started off well and then it...
He spun.
But I will give Alonso this. When he was on the radio talking about the debris, and he really was highlighting the inconsistency of the stewards on that radio rant, and he really did sort of hit the nail right on the head with it. So if there's one good thing that Alonso did, was he spoke his mind and hit the nail on the head.
And that's just an experienced driver, you know.
Yeah.
Telling it straight, telling exactly what was going on at the time. Seeing it for what it was and calling it for what it was.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
He was absolutely right.
I think when Alonso retires, I think he'd be a really good race steward.
He would be, but he's got a million other things. He likes riding his bike too much and shit.
He should come to Australia and drive in Bathurst. He'd
That'd be
love
cool.
that.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Same with Kimi Räikkönen. But in 14th place was Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. He had a rather scrappy... Well, okay, I'm going to reword that. He had a typical Yuki Tsunoda day at the office.
All promise. And then got to the race and was doing well, and then he fucked it.
You know what? He if you could sum up his entire season, it's kind of like my mum's biscuits. Like, my mum bakes biscuits,
Uh-huh.
and they look really nice, they smell really nice, and you bite into it, and it just all falls apart and crumbles.
Is she going to hear this? She's only like up there.
She's not going to hear it. Yeah. She uses cake mix to make biscuits, all right?
That's fair enough.
Yeah. But everyone likes them anyway. They taste really nice. They just don't hold together as well, you know. 15th place was Kimi Räikkönen in the Alfa Romeo. He,
Tried to kill Seb Vettel.
tried to kill his mate. That sums it up, really. And then in the retirements was Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin, because he was just getting punched by
He was
Tsunoda and Räikkönen.
He was a literal punching bag all day.
It was
Poor dude.
He was a motorized voodoo doll, just getting jabbed with bits and pieces.
His car was like an old voodoo doll with fucking pieces falling off it. It was like the arm fell off, the eye popped out.
It was my mum's biscuits. Motorized mum's biscuits. Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, he was unlucky.
He was unlucky, yep.
Yeah, Nikita Mazepin, he was unlucky as well.
He was actually unlucky. A crash that wasn't his fault, and another crash highlighting why the halo's a thing.
Yes, because that looked rather scary.
That
crash.
argument is completely dead now.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yep.
George Russell in the Williams, he retired because he was torpedoed by Mazepin, because Mazepin just there was nowhere for either of them to go.
There's like 4 cars. Those bottom 4 cars, except for Schumacher, he finished dead last. But Perez, Mazepin, Russell were all an incident and out of the race through no fault of their own.
Yeah.
All 3 of those guys were a complete accident.
Because
And the guy who caused it, Charles Leclerc, finished 7th. There you go.
Well,
there is no justice.
the thing is, come on. Charles Leclerc had nowhere to go, though. He was pinched between
A wall.
Perez and a wall.
Yeah.
Perez was pinched between Leclerc and I think it was
Gasly?
Tsunoda. Was it Gasly?
I think it was Gasly because Tsunoda was a fair bit
Further back.
behind at
Okay.
that time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, 3 into a road that's wide enough for 2
Yeah.
does not quite compute,
Yeah.
you know.
I actually think what Leclerc come on and said on the radio was pretty right, where he said Perez must have just sort of forgot I was there. And sort of, it was just an accident. I don't think Leclerc could have done anything, and
Yeah.
it was unlucky.
It was
an accident.
It was drive to survive.
Yeah.
And none of them survived. You're lost. Like Squid Game.
Hey,
You're
I-
lost.
And no, Leclerc survived. He finished 7th.
There is no justice.
and rounding it out is Mick Schumacher in the Haas. He put it into the wall.
He did a
rather
Leclerc.
hard. Yeah.
He did
Yeah.
a Leclerc, ironically. All right. Let's see how we got there. All right. Lap 1. Lewis Hamilton starts on pole from Valtteri Bottas with Max Verstappen in 3rd. after his last corner crash in qualifying cost him pole position. Race starts, Perez nearly hits Max as Lewis clears away. Esteban Ocon and Yuki Tsunoda nearly hit. Oh no, they do hit, I think. The incident is investigated, but no penalties were applied. Lap 9, Alonso tells Alpine his DRS and hybrid system are playing up, which was probably the beginning of a bad day for him. Lap 10, Mick Schumacher goes in hard at turn 22, the same corner Charles Leclerc crashed at during practice. Lewis chooses to pit for hard tyres as the safety car is deployed. Valtteri Bottas seems to hold Max Verstappen up to give Lewis Hamilton more time, but Verstappen decided not to pit anyway. But the race is then red flagged with cars free to change tyres. Lewis Hamilton groans because it gives Max Verstappen a free change that Lewis has already had. Lando Norris' result drops from 6th to 14th and is absolutely lost out. Lap 15, the race restarts. Max Verstappen lining up on pole from Lewis, who was more than 10 car lengths behind Max going on the formation lap that again went unpenalised. Max locks up and drives off the track, getting underneath Lewis. Behind them, Sergio Perez is sandwiched by Charles Leclerc and is spun. Nikita Mazepin going under the back of George Russell's Williams as he tries to avoid the crash in front, triggering another red flag. Lap 16, Michael Massey informs Red Bull they want to drop Max behind Lewis for undercutting him. Max drops to P3, Esteban Ocon starting on pole position alongside Lewis Hamilton. But off the restart, Max dive bombs both Ocon and Hamilton with an awesome move in a turn run. Max complains of a lack of power, Red Bull confirming the battery is topping up on lap 20. Lap 23, Yuki Tsunoda hits Sebastian Vettel in turn 2, breaking his front wing. Both are able to continue. Lap 25, Fernando Alonso spins at high speed but somehow keeps it off the wall. Yuki Tsunoda is subsequently penalised 5 seconds for his contact with Sebastian Vettel. Meanwhile, Sebastian Vettel's car is losing bodywork at the same time after contact with Kimi Raikkonen. So he became the mobile punching bag that we discussed. Lap 36, Lewis Hamilton tries to overtake Max Verstappen on the outside. Max Verstappen crossed up and keeping the spot off the track. Lap 37, Max Verstappen brakes trying to give the place back to Lewis, Hamilton fearing a penalty. Lewis hits the back of Max's car, breaking Lewis's front wing. The stewards investigate. Lap 43, Max Verstappen lets Lewis Hamilton pass into the final corner, but gets the place back down the front straight in the DRS zone, but is subsequently given a 5-second penalty. Lap 44, Lewis Hamilton overtakes Max Verstappen finally, although Max may have let him past. Michael Massey informing Mercedes that Lewis is driving Max off the track was borderline black and white, but no penalty is once again given. Lap 50, Lewis Hamilton wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from Max Verstappen, with Valtteri Bottas snatching third place from Esteban Ocon on the line. Lewis Hamilton getting the fastest lap. Max Verstappen voted driver of the day. That was one chaotic fucking race.
And it all boils down to now. Both drivers on 369.5 points with one race left to go.
It's like the script of a bad NASCAR movie or something.
It's like Rush.
It's Rush.
It's Rush.
Which is not a bad NASCAR movie. It's cinematic masterpiece.
It's not a NASCAR movie.
Exactly.
So if it was a NASCAR movie, you'd have Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in it.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that before.
Yeah.
I actually watched that the other day. Rush. Good movie.
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
Days of Thunder's not that bad either.
I guess not.
It's better than Driven.
I was about to say, don't say Top Gun. Don't sit there and say Top Gun.
No, I'm not saying Top Gun. Top Gun is like Tom Cruise's best movie.
It is. Anyway. Yes, we are level.
So, the first sort of thing that I've got here is the Nikita Mazepin about to ram him up the backside of
George Russell. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you can tell he's really trying to avoid everything. He's trying to avoid his teammate, actually.
Yeah. Is that an Alpine? No,
that's Latifi.
Okay, so Latifi's coming across on George. George has to stop. I mean, Perez is not sideways in this picture yet, but he will be. And Nikita pretty much goes under the back of George Russell. Yeah. Which, again, look where that wheel is. Like, that would be that would be going into Nikita Mazepin's helmet
Yeah.
if it was not for the halo system, which has once again saved another life.
Yeah.
So if anyone thinks the halo system's ever coming off these cars, it never ever is.
Yeah, without the halo, that would be Nikita Mazepin.
Yup. We wouldn't have to worry about him anymore because he'd be dead. And so would Romain Grosjean from last year at Bahrain.
Yep.
He'd be dead too.
Oh, Charles Leclerc would have been dead. You know,
At Mugello. That big one at Mugello last year?
Oh, yeah, but also, I mean, when his 1 year in Alfa Romeo at Spa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, as much as the drivers didn't like this innovation initially, it has proven its worth.
I think it's a lot better than what IndyCar has, though.
That Perspex screen?
Yeah, that Perspex screen, it just... Something's not right with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it fail or anything, but...
I think with the Halo, there's less of a chance of things like the screen getting covered in gunk or whatever that can actually obscure the drivers.
But like what supercars have, they have those tear-offs.
Yeah.
Like they have screen tear-offs, which would be fucking annoying on a curved screen, but you could probably make it work.
But here we go. It's the real deal. So, what lap was 37? Because it says on the screen there.
Yes.
Because I'm hopeless. Look, going into this one,
Max was on the brakes hard. Like, he knew Lewis was going to outbrake him on the outside.
yeah,
And he was right. But he had to brake so hard that he wound up locking the rear tyres up, which ultimately forced him away from the apex, but also forced Lewis away from the apex.
thing is though, I keep thinking, and like Longhorn, jump in with an opinion on this, but I keep thinking that Lewis should have backed off. Like at this point going into the corner, they're pretty level pegging.
Yep. Yep.
But Max has got the apex of the corner.
But this was the exact scenario that happened at the start of the race. Except Max wasn't on the outside, Lewis was on the inside. Like, this was the move that got Max penalised.
Yeah.
This was the move that got Max his 5-second penalty, except now the positions are reversed. It looks to me a lot more that Max is going for the apex here than Lewis was when he did it to Max.
Yeah, Lewis didn't even look like he was going for the apex. He was just trying to squeeze Max clean off the track when he did it. And yet Lewis got away with it.
The only reason that both these guys wound up where they did was because Max's rear tyres locked and he slid naturally. But this looked a lot cleaner than what Lewis did to Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. For mine.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
And then we get to... So Max gets told he's got to hand the position back to Lewis.
Yes. For his earlier incident, not for that one.
Yeah. And so he does slow down. And he is trying to slow down and get Lewis to overtake him before the DRS detection point.
Yes, Red Bull came on the radio and said, you need to give the place back, but remember to do it strategically.
Yeah.
That's what they meant.
And
that's what he tried to do.
Apparently no one let Lewis Hamilton know.
Well, his engineer said to Michael Massey, or whoever the fuck it was on the radio from Mercedes to Michael Massey, he said, I was telling Lewis as it was happening. It's like, why didn't you let me know sooner? So, so Mercedes is trying to blame Michael Massey.
Here's the problem with that, is that post-race, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen were both summoned to go and see Michael Massey. And in Massey's report, he says that Lewis admitted he did not want to overtake Max before the DRS detection point. So, for me, I'm starting to see that there's a bit of a hole in Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes' story here. If they're not letting him know before he does it.
How did he know?
Yeah.
He's literally admitting that he does know.
Yeah, how
he's
did
giving
he
the position.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he said that, he's literally admitting that he knew he was getting the position handed back to him, but he didn't want to do it, which explains why he was literally just behind him rather than overtaking him, as we discussed before. Like, you're a racer, you see him slowing down. If you didn't know, wouldn't you still be just you could be mechanical failure. So you overtake and you keep going and you wait and see what happens.
You take the advantage.
You know?
If he's slowing down and you might think, oh, he's done a cylinder or whatever. He's got an issue, so I'm going to overtake him and zoom off into the sunset.
And this wasn't a brake test like Lewis fucking claimed either. This happened over 200 or 300 meters.
Yeah.
This was a gradual slowing, but he kept getting slower. Like, this wasn't a jam on the brakes. This was a gradual slowing. These are race car drivers that can swerve shit at 320 k's an hour with lightning reflexes.
Well, we see Lewis was just in practice.
Yeah.
He avoided Hamilton coming around a blind corner at 300 k's an hour.
Yeah.
Was able to zigzag out the way.
These guys know what they're doing, and they know how to move a car very quickly. I'm just real puzzled as to why Lewis, and this was a gradual slowdown. Watch the clip. Lewis, that's for the lead of the race, that's your championship rival slowing down. Why would you even think twice?
Yep.
Like, I would have taken him instantly.
Well, for me, here's the thing. Like, if he had brake checked, his tyres would have locked up, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that wasn't a brake check.
That wasn't a brake check. But the simple fact that Lewis Hamilton sat there and said, I didn't want to overtake him before the DRS point.
Yeah.
So he knew, he had some knowledge, or at least half a clue, on what was going on. And yet, post-race, because it was for this incident, Michael Massey not only gave him a 5-second penalty for...
He gave him a 5-second penalty for the off-the-track move.
And then gave him a 10-second penalty for dangerous driving.
Yes, but even with that, he still did finish second in the race.
Yeah.
But and now, open the other can of worms, Mercedes weren't penalised for anything they did.
Well then, yeah...
The 10 car place on the formation lap.
Yeah, but before that it was, so the safety car was out.
Yeah.
The safety car was out. Lewis Hamilton was in first. Valtteri was in second, and Max was in third.
This was before the initial red flag.
Yes.
Yes.
And Valtteri was slowing down the rest of the pack so that Lewis could get in and get a pit stop.
So they could double stack.
And Max is on the radio going, you can't do this.
The same thing that everyone exploded at. Remember when David Coulthard did it at Bathurst like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And the same thing. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. If you haven't seen it.
David Coulthard?
Yes. No, wait. Fabian Coulthard.
Fabian Coulthard.
The other Coulthard.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
the uncool
hey,
one.
what?
The other Coulthard. Yeah.
Did David Coulthard driving the Bathurst 1000?
I mean, he could.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're cousins, aren't they, or brothers?
Oh, who knows?
But
we know where the talent went.
Yeah,
Sure, it wasn't Fabian.
Not to Fabian. But yeah,
it's like Bruno Senna.
Yeah, your uncle was God. You are not. But anyway, yeah, that's basically the incident. Valtteri backed him up, and nothing was said then.
Yeah.
And then the red flag came out. And then on the formation lap, I think Lewis did it to Max on the formation lap when Max started on pole the second time. And nothing was said.
Yeah.
And now all these fucking little things that Max did wrong, they were all penalised. All of them.
Which then sort of starts to bring forward the question of...
Have we heard of Red Bulls appealing it? Surely they're going to have to.
Have to.
You've got to appeal it. Like, there's 2 rulebook penalties that Mercedes did that weren't even looked at, let alone the rulebook penalties that, okay,
But then
Max...
Michael Massey was making excuses for Mercedes. Sitting there saying, oh, it wasn't a formation lap. It was a something else lap.
The second one was a formation lap. The first one was a safety car lap. But, I mean, it wasn't red flag conditions, so it was still a safety car lap.
And it counted towards the race.
It did. It knocked a lap off the race count.
So, it's a formation lap.
It's a safety car lap. You were 10 car lengths behind the car in front.
This is the thing, like, I'm new to Formula One, as you guys know, Drive to Survive convert, and absolutely love the sport, obsessed with it, think it's great. But when it comes to the rules, I've never watched a sport more not black and white where it should be in my life. It just, the consistency from week to week, like as you explained before, those, the 10-car ruling, why is that not even looked at? How is that not even looked at?
In a championship fight.
It's in the rule book. Like, how do you miss that?
Yeah.
We could all see it. We all seen it. But they're even literally playing Verstappen talk about it over the radio.
Yeah.
We can all watch it, all see it. He's saying it over the radio. How do you not even look at it?
And it's bad when Martin Brundle points it out. When he sits there and says, that's a no-no. And yet it just... They
slipped under the radar.
Yeah, Michael Massey just lifts up the rug and just sweeps it under there.
Yeah, and it was both drivers. Valtteri did it the first time and Lewis did it the second time.
Yeah.
And nothing.
No. It's starting to bring forward the question that Trollmula 1 is bringing up, which is, I think Michael Massey needs to go. He's not doing the job right.
He's made, we said it, he's made some questionable calls this year. This is probably the most questionable calls.
It just seems like he doesn't want to penalise Mercedes.
This championship has been so good. Why do I now get the feeling it's going to be decided on penalties?
Which will be an absolute letdown for such a great season.
Exactly. Like Michael Massey could decide this championship on some bullshit call in Abu Dhabi.
And we don't want that. We want the drivers on the track.
We want to see him fly.
Well, it's like what Max said on the when he was doing the interview, the on-track interview, when he got told he was driver of the day, and he said, this is not Formula One.
It's not.
Penalties are going to decide a championship.
In the second last race of the year. In this second last race of the year, you want to dish out 2 time penalties and turn a blind eye to what Mercedes did.
Give him a slap on the wrist and say, oh, you're cutting the curbs.
Yeah.
What?
And the other one, where Lewis drove him wide in the last corner. And Michael Massey got on and said, that's pretty close, that's borderline black and white flag for dangerous driving. But he kept his gun in his pocket.
I mean, does Max get the same?
But he pulled it out as soon as Max brake tested in air quotes Lewis.
Yeah.
You got up Max straight away for dangerous driving, but Lewis, that was borderline dangerous driving, but I'm not going to penalise you.
I mean, it's like at Silverstone this year, after he won... Look, Silverstone this year, Hamilton should have been penalised to fucking hell for putting Max Verstappen out, because that move
nearly
was
killed
not
him.
on. Nearly fucking killed him.
280 kilometres an hour. I don't know how hard he hit that barrier.
And then he has the gall when he wins the race to drive around with the crowd. And Martin Brundle sitting there saying, you shouldn't be doing that. That's against the rules.
Nothing was done.
Nothing was done. Yeah, this Michael Massey, he's got to pull his finger out of his ass. Like, seriously, they need to start looking at someone else to be the race director.
Exactly.
He's just not cut.
And this isn't Hamilton bashing. This is just like legitimately what has happened. This is like it feels like we're bashing on Lewis, but we're not. Like every incident this year, I mean, he has got the rub of the green way more than Max. Yeah. Way more.
It definitely seems like it's hard to argue against there not being a bias towards Hamilton Mercedes, and it's not Hamilton's fault. Like, as you're saying, we're not having a go at Hamilton, but there seems to be a rule for everyone else and a separate rule for Hamilton on multiple occasions. And unfortunately, when we're coming into, we've had such a great year, we're coming down to the last race, we don't want it to just be decided by some rule that doesn't, because we can look back on half a dozen incidents this year and go, well, why wasn't that looked at? Why wasn't that looked at? And I can just see it happening in the last race with this. This is what I say about we want consistency, because we don't want to be talking about this like this. We want to be saying, oh yeah, that penalty was deserved, that penalty was deserved. That's not a penalty. Not sitting here going, oh, how come Max gets done for dangerous driving, but Hamilton doesn't when he, like when he was trying to give the place back. How is Hamilton not he drove into him?
And what's really annoying is you go on social media, you go on like the Trollmula 1 Facebook page, And he seems like he's very passionate about it, and he's put up his thoughts about Michael Massey and everything. And you get everyone else who isn't a Lewis Hamilton fan sitting there saying, yeah, mate, you're right. Like, this is bullshit. And then you get the Lewis Hamilton fans who sit there and go, but Max got away with this, and Max got away with that, and Vettel got away with this, and da-da-da.
But did he?
And you sit there and go, can you not see it? Like, I mean, I'm a Schumacher fan. Schumacher was my guy. You're an Ayrton Senna guy, right? Even you can admit, when it came to Prost and Senna, like, Senna crossed the line when he crashed out Prost.
Yes, he did.
You know?
Very much so.
I can admit, as a Schumacher fan, crashing out Damon Hill, trying to crash out Jacques Villeneuve.
It's dirty. It's unsportsmanlike.
You know,
it's not...
Or cutting across Mika Hakkinen on the Camel Straight on Spa in 99. Well, was it 99?
I think it was 2000.
It was 2000, yeah.
Yeah, because then he got him back the next lap, and it was fucking awesome.
And, we can point these out. But then you get the Lewis Hamilton diehards who just cannot take a step back and go, maybe Hamilton's crossing the line here. You know,
yeah,
even the Verstappen fans can come out and say, yeah, he's our driver. But he fucked up at that point. You know?
I agree with him with the 5 second. I don't even agree with the 5 second penalty because I believe he gave him the position back, undercutting him in turn 1.
Yeah.
You got to, and he had to start from P3 on that first restart.
Yeah.
And then he gave him the place back
twice
into the last corner.
He gave him
Lewis Hamilton led the race.
He tried to give him back the place the first time, and Lewis decided to drive into him. Then he gave him back the place. Then he retook it.
Which was brilliant, by the way. That was so good to watch.
Mwah, chef's kiss.
That's brilliant. That's the Max Verstappen we need.
That was race IQ. That was learning from Bahrain at the start of the year where he gave the place back.
You know what that is? And I've noticed this all year about Max Verstappen, is that his driving style, particularly this year, is very Senna-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Which means if Senna was around now, he would have thought of that already. That would have been a genius move.
Big smile on his face. Yeah.
And if it wasn't him, Schumacher would have done it too. That is a driver's IQ.
That's race IQ, and he's only 24.
Yeah.
Like, he's young, man. But that's a vintage. That's an expert move. That's a veteran move.
And all these younger drivers...
Even Toto laughed. Yeah. Even Toto laughed. He's like, oh, yeah, you fucking got us, actually.
Yeah. You know...
And that should have been the end of it. Like, the fact that Max thought he had to give him the place back again after that.
Yeah. Does that show how much bias there is towards Hamilton, though? That then he, for some reason, had to think, well, I just better give it back because no doubt there's going to be some kind of... ruling to say I have to because it's Hamilton. Like,
well, for me, and I think I said it during the race.
I think he was snake bit.
I think
because it had already happened twice.
For me, I think I said this during the race when the second time that he let him through. I think Hamilton should have gotten on the radio to his team and gone, did he let me through again? And if they said yes, he should have handed the place back and shown some goddamn integrity and honour on track.
Hamilton doesn't have that.
That's right. As
you said before, the Silverstone incident, he took Verstappen out, and without even getting into politics of racing incident, his fault, Verstappen went to the hospital.
Verstappen could have fucking died.
Yeah, he could have died. Hamilton goes on and wins the race and is doing all those burnouts and all that, like jumping around. And you think, wouldn't you have some thought of, I wonder if, like this, wonder if Verstappen's all right. Maybe I won't show pony right now.
Yeah.
Like I took him out. Maybe show pony isn't the right thing. Like win, take your trophy, wave to the fans. But to go on like he did after taking Verstappen out, to me, was a very bad look.
And to me, that separates him. Like everyone's sitting there saying he's the greatest of all time. He will never be the GOAT of F1. He can win 8 championships and beat Schumacher's records until the cows come home. The simple fact is that Lewis Hamilton lacks the class of a Senna, of a Prost, of a Schumacher, of a Vettel, of a Kimi Räikkönen. yeah, of a
Alonso.
Alonso,
I don't know.
a Mika Hakkinen,
Alonso had some dirty shit. Namely, to Lewis.
but
At McLaren.
yeah, well, yeah, true.
I mean, look, every race driver. I mean, everyone you just fucking named has had dirty moments.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, if you want to compare Lewis Hamilton carrying on like a pork chop at Silverstone, compare it with Michael Schumacher the last time he won Imola, where he got to the press room afterwards and cried. And
Yeah.
he cried because it was the last time they were racing at Imola at that time. He knew it was the end of a legacy, and he knew that because that's where Senna died.
Yeah.
And then the race was dying a few years later, and it hit him hard.
Yeah.
To the point where even Mika Hakkinen said to him, like, can we ask him any more questions and just leave him be?
Yeah.
You know, or like Senna when he won Brazil,
Oh, that's brilliant.
and he cried through the radio.
Yeah.
That's class and pure emotion, and
Yeah.
Hamilton just doesn't exude that.
Is that because of the pressure of this championship? Because he hasn't felt this kind of pressure since Rosberg. And it's not inter-team pressure. It's like from a rival that doesn't give a fuck if your car goes home straight or not.
if you take that championship out, he hasn't felt pressure like this since 2008.
Yeah.
And he had to come from behind and win that. But
Yeah.
he was young and he was clean and he was fucking better back then. I mean, he wasn't as egotistical.
Yeah, well, do
you think he's driving like this and acting like this because of the pressure?
yes.
I think so too.
I'll tell me if I'm wrong, but there was an incident in this race where Verstappen went hard, and Hamilton went on the radio like, oh, he's crazy, man, crazy driving. And to me, it was just hard racing. Like Verstappen might have gone in a bit hard. I think this was at the start of the race.
That was the lock-up. That was the sideways lock-up.
That might have been the one where Verstappen got penalised for. Which
no, this was the one. That was the one where Lewis was on the outside.
Yeah, Lewis
and
was
Max
on the
was
outside.
on the inside.
Yeah, and he went
he's
on the
fucking
radio
crazy.
going, "Oh, he's bloody crazy." And
Yeah.
I thought, no, Verstappen is just a driver willing to do anything to win on the track in terms of he will die to win. I don't think Hamilton is that anymore. Hamilton's so used to winning though,
Yeah,
and being handed things that he doesn't like it when a driver comes along like Verstappen, who is willing to go, I will put myself into the wall to win this. I will die to win this.
or Rosberg or Vettel.
Yep, and Hamilton's
He
feeling
hates
that pressure.
he
Like,
hates
oh,
pressure.
Oh, yeah, because I don't think Hamilton's willing. Why would Hamilton be willing to kill himself? Because he's 7-time world champion. He doesn't need to,
Yeah,
Exactly.
And he's coming up against a young guy with all the talent in the world going, I'm going to beat you.
And time.
Yeah. And the pressure's getting
Lewis
to him.
knows he's only got 2 years, 3 years tops left in this sport. Max Verstappen has all the fucking time in the world.
Yeah.
And Lewis knows he's like, I'm probably not going to get another bite at this cherry.
And like Verstappen really is driving like, say, James Hunt from 1976.
I'm going to be honest, man.
Yep.
If George Russell goes to Mercedes next year and starts out driving him, you're going to see Lewis just drop off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be like Schumacher when he went to Mercedes. He'll just drop off a fucking cliff.
I think he'll retire.
Yeah, honestly. I think Lewis knows it's this year. It's probably not going to be next year. I think he knows it's this year or bust. Like, I think he knows it's his last stand.
I think Max is thinking the same way too, though.
Max just wants to fucking beat him.
Because Max realises...
This is the best Red Bull car they've had since the turbo hybrid era started.
Next year, while the handling and the package overall of next year's Red Bull will be great, but I think the power unit being developed internally is what will let them down. It'll let them and AlphaTauri down.
Yeah, I think they. Well, I think we've hit the nail on the head.
And with
Lewis is fighting this because he knows it might be his last chance,
and
Max is fighting this because he knows this is the best chance he's had since getting into Formula One to win a championship. This is the best Red Bull car we've had since 2013.
And
it's been that long.
George Russell is not going to lay down for Lewis.
No.
He's hungry.
Nor
he's
should he.
young. He's hungry. And he's in a top team. He's going to want that title. at any cost.
Yeah.
It's like a saying in pro wrestling: if you're not here to be world champion, you shouldn't be here. And it's the same thing with Formula One. If you're not there to be world champion, you shouldn't be there.
Yeah, you got two desperate drivers and two desperate teams. The amount of politics that's going on now, I'll be surprised if Red Bull don't fucking appeal the safety car gaps after being handed 2 penalties.
They have to appeal Bottas slowing down on Verstappen.
Bottas slowing
it was
down.
clear that's what was going on.
And Hamilton slowing down.
But then it also brings me to another thing, and we've covered this about 3 or 4 times this year. The red flag rule.
The red flag rule.
The cars should be in parc ferme under red flag conditions.
Yep. And we are not alone in this. Lando Norris said the same thing.
You know,
Because once again, Lando Norris was P6 when that red flag came out and P14 when it done because he stopped early.
Yeah.
And he'd done his pit stop. He was going to work his way back through the field, and then everyone got a free pit stop. And it was the same thing Lewis was bitching about because Lewis had already done his stop.
Yeah, but
and Max was coming in.
It's all right when it worked. It's all right for Lewis to bitch about it when it works against him. When it worked for him earlier in the year.
And last year twice.
He wasn't complaining or saying, oh, gee, that rule's a bit bullshit or anything. He was sitting there going, look at me, I've got another world title.
That's Hamilton to a T, like you just said.
Yeah.
When it works for him, he's all happy to take it. When it's working against him, it's complain about it. Oh, that's no good. So it's like a whinger where I don't see Verstappen doing the same thing. Verstappen goes by the rules, and I think he'd happily accept something if he was doing something against the rules.
Yeah.
Like he'll be one to if it worked for him once and didn't work for him another. I think he'd happily take that and not complain about that. But Hamilton will complain when it doesn't work for him, but is happy to take it when it does, and not like he wouldn't question it. He would say, "Oh, the rules work today."
Yeah,
because it worked for him.
Yeah,
but in the one time it doesn't, he'll jump up and down, and and he's got the biggest platform out of all the drivers, so you're going to hear his view on it, and he'll happily say that's crap, but he'll forget it worked for him 6 races ago, or whatever it was.
It's like this race tonight when he reckons that Max Verstappen brake checked him. You didn't hear him complaining, oh, gee, I really fucked up and brake checked Sebastian Vettel at Azerbaijan in, 2017 or 2018 or whatever it was. And he did brake check Sebastian Vettel back then.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Vettel pulled up beside him and charged into
him.
him.
That was a proper brake check, though.
That was a proper brake check. But the stewards turned around and said, oh, we've got no data to back that up. We bloody saw it on the screen.
What data do they have to back up that Verstappen was brake checking when they know he was trying to give the position back?
That was a gradual slowing. The fact that Lewis hit him is completely on Lewis. Why didn't you just... You've been following him for 37 laps trying to get past him, and he gives you an opportunity, knowingly or not. Why didn't you just fucking take it?
Yeah, what I mean...
Why didn't you just go past him?
He didn't even know if the car was breaking down. So why is he following him?
Yeah. Yep. You didn't see any smoke, so you didn't assume that something was fucking wrong.
He was following him because he knew what Verstappen... He wanted to overtake him after...
I want to be behind him.
Yeah.
I want to be behind him at the DRS detection point.
Because otherwise there's no reason to be behind him. Like, the minute you see him start slowing, don't you go pull out to the side to overtake? Or, like... Even if it's not for racing, where you go, you're overtaking him no matter what, for safety. Like, why would you be right up the car if you see him slowing down in a race?
Yeah, why would you risk damaging your car?
Yeah, wouldn't you pull to the side and just see what's... Oh, he's slowing, so I keep going, overtake. I'm gone by.
Do you think maybe
isn't that just fucking instinctive?
Well,
yes.
Well, do you think maybe part of Lewis Hamilton's brain was, I could take him out right here?
No, because he's behind in the championship.
Yeah, but if he takes him out, if he takes out Max,
Max
scores no points.
And neither does Lewis.
Yeah,
you wouldn't risk your car like that.
Yeah, but I don't know, Senna and Prost.
Yeah, but if you're going to do it, you're going to have to hit him in the side. You got to make sure you finish him off.
Yeah, but
you're going to wreck the front of your car as badly as you're going to wreck the back of his.
Yeah, but you can go and get another front wing.
You can't get another gearbox, I guess.
Whereas Max, bump him the right way, goes into the wall, he's out of the race. Lewis can putt around on a broken wing for 3 corners, go into the pits, get a new front wing, coast on off, win the race. Max gets 0 points, and he's ahead by 18 points.
I think it was 100%. Hamilton, I think as you admitted, I think Hamilton knew was going to get the position. He didn't want to do it until after the DRS zone because he knew what Verstappen was doing, which was nothing wrong with what Verstappen was doing. It's in the rules. It's just driver IQ. And I think Hamilton was unhappy that he was doing that, so played the game where I'll stay behind him. Oh, no, I've collided. What was he doing?
And you know why? Because fucking Max had already done it to him. This was the hitting him, yeah, and then Max did it to him when he got him back down the front straight. Was this before or after that?
No, this was the first time they collided.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second time he backed off and Lewis got through, and then he overtook him going back into the corner, and he had DRS so he could putt on down the road a bit. But then by the end of that lap, he'd lost it back anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or he handed it back.
Yeah, he handed it back. He gave Lewis the lead back.
He even said that on the radio. I've handed it back.
Christian Horner was like, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Max was actually so confused by all the shit going on that he inadvertently gave Lewis the fucking lead of the race back. He probably didn't have to.
No, he didn't. He gave the position back and then he retook it. That's all he had to do was give it back and then retake it.
He did.
And he did that.
And then he was like, oh, was that enough?
I should hand the position back.
He probably thought, oh, no, here we go. Or I've done it. I've been too smart. I've worked out how to give the position back and take it back instantly. Yeah. They're going to complain. I better give it back because it's not fair on Lewis Hamilton.
Exactly. And that's why I think Michael Massey's got to figure out what the fuck he's doing because he doesn't seem to have a goddamn clue what he's doing.
Yeah, you've got to play a straight bat. Like, this championship's too good to be fucking ruined like this.
Yep.
You've got to realise there's two opposing teams in a fucking war out there that the next race in Abu Dhabi is going to decide the championship. And if Max Verstappen wins and is handed a 5-second penalty and Lewis is 4.8 seconds behind him, there's going to be fucking riots in the streets. Holy shit, there's going to be riots in the streets.
All right, so we're going to move on from that. We're going to get to the pit lane questions.
We've exploded. We exploded.
So here we go. Oh, first of all, I've got to put that photo up because
the Bose headphones.
The Bose headphones. That is beautiful. Poetry in motion. So the first thing I know we're an F1 channel, but
we're motorsport enthusiasts.
So we wanted to send congratulations out to Chaz Mostert and Lee Holdsworth for winning the Bathurst 1000.
Absolutely brilliant drive.
They dominated.
Absolutely brilliant drive. One of the best drives I've seen at the mountain. That was a pole position car. That car holds the lap record at Bathurst now. And their race pace was off the charts all day. So much so that Shane Van Gisbergen, the most dominant driver of 2021, drove so hard trying to chase them down, he delaminated his front right tyre.
These guys had delaminated tyre as well.
And these guys had delaminated tyre at the start of the race and were able to change it and still win. That just shows how much pace that 25 car had.
And here's a bit of irony. I think I actually messaged you and said it. The irony of it is that team, that car, used to be HRT.
Yes.
And they won the Peter Brock Trophy, which was presented to them by Bev and Roger Brock.
Yes.
So Peter Brock's son and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Brock used to drive for HRT.
He did.
He put HRT on the map pretty much.
It was very full circle.
So it was very full circle.
Even as a Ford man, it was very full circle, and I take nothing away from those two. Lee Holdsworth was the fastest co-driver out there.
Yeah.
Like, Lee Holdsworth had the same pace as Chaz all day, and Chaz just brought it home, and it was phenomenal. It was one of the best Bathurst drives I've ever seen.
The only thing that could have made it better is if Craig Lowndes had won it.
Exactly, but no one was going to touch these guys.
But, I mean, him and Jamie Wingecup were so off the pace, it wasn't funny.
They tried.
And it also Bathurst this year also led to one of the funniest things ever, because we just watched a Formula One race that had 2 red flags, 3 virtual safety cars.
Yes.
I think one VSC went for 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was pointless. That was after the marshal had run onto the track and grabbed the debris and ran back.
Whereas Bathurst had a safety car for an echidna on the track.
So brilliant.
It's so Australian.
I thought he was just running along the side of the track, but they showed the replay and he ran like across the cutting as cars were coming around. And what's the last thing you expect to see as a race driver on a racetrack?
An echidna.
Something this big with
And
lots of spikes.
How good were the drivers to
miss
avoid
it? Yeah.
They just...
Speaking, Lewis Hamilton, pay attention for a second. V8 supercars weigh about 2 tons. Your car weighs 1,500 at best. They all avoided an echidna that they had no time to see.
On a blind corner.
On a blind corner.
Blind rising corner.
You can avoid a Red Bull slowing down for 300 metres.
And if anyone out there follows Lewis Hamilton on Twitter, just send him the link for that.
It's like, how come they could miss the echidna but you couldn't miss a Red Bull?
Let's see what he reacts to. He'll probably
He won't
ignore it
react.
because
He'll
we're
be
not...
like, I'm going to eat my vegan food. And
He'd go at the back of it and then say that it was dangerous driving by the echidna.
That was dangerous driving by the echidna, and Michael Massey should penalise it 5 seconds.
Toto Wolff will throw his Bose headphones.
At the echidna. Or the albino wallaby up the top. One of the two.
So, going back to F1 though, so there's an unofficial rumour that Otmar Zafnauer, the team principal at Aston Martin, is leaving the team and being replaced by former McLaren team principal Martin Whitmarsh.
It's good to see Martin Whitmarsh back in the paddock. I think he was unfairly booted by Ron Dennis back in the day. I mean, not that I miss him now because Andreas Seidel and Zach Brown have taken this team to another level. But
he might be the guy that takes Aston Martin to another level.
I think he will.
He also might be the guy that tells Aston Martin to stop copying last year's Mercedes.
Look, Martin Whitmarsh was booted from the sport through sheer politics.
Yeah.
And Ron Dennis not liking him. But, you know, that doesn't mean to say he's lost his edge as a manager or as a team principal or anything like that. I think it's a great pickup for Aston Martin. I really do.
Well, Aston Martin has been making a lot of good pickups. Like they've got the head of aerodynamics from Mercedes
yes.
jumping ship.
Uh-huh.
And they've got... I think they've got a couple of technical, like, engine people.
I think they got some tech guys from Mercedes as well coming over.
And from Red Bull.
Yeah, so they're building an empire.
Well, I mean, Lawrence Stroll's got the cash.
Exactly.
But they also have the $140 million pound
exactly.
salary
I mean,
cap, so.
Remember going into next year, it's going to be a level playing field.
And that's why a lot of the Ferrari staff now work at Alfa Romeo, Sauber, and Haas. Because they just had too many people on the books. Yeah. So they said, well, these are some of our best talent. We'll help these other teams out.
That's cool, and that's only a good thing for the sport.
Yeah.
Like shedding your best talent because or your semi-best. You'll keep your best talent, obviously. Like but the Tier 2 guys, if you can fuck your Tier 2 guys off, they'll be Tier 1 guys in lower teams. And that can only be a good thing for lower teams and a good thing for the parity of the sport, which is what next year's all about.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the guy who is at, I think he's at Haas now, is the head of aerodynamics or head of design or something. He was the guy who designed the 2016 or 2015 Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly.
And he came back from Alfa Romeo to redo the 2019 Ferrari.
So he's got
skills.
Talent as well.
What do you think is going to happen with Otmar Zafnauer, though?
He might just fade into a directing role. Like, you might do like an Alan Prost thing and just become like an overseer. Or like a Niki Lauda. Just become like an overseer, I guess. I don't. If he wants to, I don't know.
I think he still wants to be in F1.
Yeah, he'll still be there. He'll just be in the background. If he wants to let Martin Whitmarsh take over.
I mean, I think I read somewhere that...
Or maybe they co-do it. Mm.
Mate, I heard that he might be getting transferred to the road car division of Aston Martin.
Hey, look, man.
But I've also heard rumours that he might be going to Haas to replace Gunther Steiner.
That dude needs to get the fuck out.
He needs a decent team behind him.
He's such a cool dude in the most depressing environment imaginable.
Yeah.
Imagine that's like locking Bob Ross up in solitary confinement in a dark room. Just this bright beacon of a person in fucking dark, decrepit hell called Haas Racing Automotive.
Gunther Steiner needs to go to a team fighting at the top just so I can see him more
Happy.
and hear him at press conferences more.
Yes, please.
Put him at Mercedes just so I can see him.
He was
talk.
at Mercedes. Was he at Mercedes? Where was he? I saw him. I think he was at Mercedes. He was like one of Toto's right-hand men. There's a photo of him and Toto at Mercedes in like 2014 or something.
You sure he just wasn't there calling him a fucking vanker?
No, he was part of the team.
Shit.
I didn't realise he was part of the team, yeah. Like he was a higher up. And then he got the call from Gene Haas to like run Haas Automotion, which is why he left.
You know...
And the worst mistake of his life was made.
You know what? I think that Mattia Binotto, to me, does not strike me as like a team principal. Like, he's a technical guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see Mattia Binotto just go back to Maranello and just focus on building the fucking car and get Gunther Steiner in as the team principal, like the on-track team principal at Ferrari.
I'd be interested to see if Gunther Steiner becomes a free agent where he goes. I'd like to see him. Yeah, you're right. I'd love to see him land in a higher up team.
Because he deserves it. He
does. Even just being a nice guy, an awesome guy, but he's got the experience.
He's firm but fair.
Yes.
That's what he is.
He doesn't like fucking vankers or fucking vankers breaking his fuck door, but, you know.
He doesn't like to fuck around.
Doesn't like to fuck around. He wants to look like a fucking rock star, not a bunch of fucking wankers.
Fucking vankers.
So, no, I hope he becomes a free agent and I hope he lands somewhere good.
I think, though, Otmar Zafnauer might end up at either. So here's some long shots, all right? He might end up at AlphaTauri. Possibly. Or he might end up if Porsche or Audi decide that they're going to have a full-on works team and not take over making engines for Red Bull, but have their own team, I think he would run it.
Yeah, but that's 5 years down the track. You'd want to land somewhere in between time. Maybe you could go back to Mercedes. Maybe you could just be like a mid-carter at Mercedes.
To Otmar Zafnauer.
No, Gunther Steiner.
Oh, yeah. But I was talking about Otmar Zafnauer.
Oh, Otmar, I don't give a fuck where he goes.
I
I really don't. I don't like the guy.
Yeah.
He rubs me wrong.
Something about him, hey?
Yeah.
He's up there with Eric Buffet.
Yeah,
Eric Boullier.
Eric Boullier ruined McLaren for like fucking 4 years.
He was great at Lotus.
He was awesome at Lotus. He made Roman Grosjean look like a world beater for like that one season.
Yeah.
In 2013.
And then he went to McLaren and just
and
shit the bed.
But the Honda deal shit the bed first.
Yeah, that's Ron Dennis's fault.
Yes. That's also why Martin Whitmarsh left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're out of that period now. I mean, we're not going to win third in the Constructors, but I'm glad it's not 2015.
Also, this was the last race that Jean Todt was at as FIA president. I don't think he's going to be FIA president. I think he's done his 4 terms as FIA president.
He's had a long, long run in the sport. Remember, it was him and Bernie Eccleston, really, that kicked this off, what, the 60s, 70s, 80s?
Well, Jean Todt, he was in charge of Benetton, I think.
Yeah.
Then he moved to Ferrari and put together the dream team of himself, Ross Brawn, and Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, it just became the most dominant team of the 2000s.
Until...
Alonso.
No. Who was Enzo Ferrari's right-hand man?
Oh, God. That's a you question. I'm a McLaren boy. I don't care about your history.
Because he actually is like the character, not the actual man who the actual man, but a guy playing him.
It wasn't Dominicali.
No, not Stefano Dominicali. Oh God, what was his name?
The guy that passed
Gunther
away.
Steiner.
No, not Gunther
Gunther Steiner.
Steiner.
I just want it to be him. I just want to
Fuck
talk about
off.
Gunther Steiner more.
Fucked off.
The Steiner should be his race steward. There we go.
Fuck.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
Fuck. Vankers.
Yeah, Lewis, you hit the fucking car.
We bring you to Jeddah to look like fucking rock stars, and now you go out there and you look like a bunch of fucking vankers.
Luca de Montezumalo.
That's him.
That's the one.
Was he the guy that passed away?
No,
He was the
he's
guy that
still
passed
alive.
away.
He's still
no,
alive.
it's
No,
not
that was oh God, another.
Yeah.
He was Canadian though.
Yeah, he was like not Italian, but he was up there.
Because he was the guy who really wanted Kimi Räikkönen out and Charles Leclerc in.
I mean, at the end of the day, he made the right call.
Yeah.
He was the guy that wanted Antonio Giovinazzi at Ferrari.
Yes.
Is the reason him passing away is the reason Antonio Giovinazzi never made it to Ferrari, which is sad for both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Stefano Dominicali.
No.
No.
Luca de
Luca de
Montezumalo.
Montezumalo. God,
Yeah, Luca de Montezumalo.
I haven't seen him around in ages.
Yeah, he's not in charge of Ferrari anymore.
Yeah.
He got the boot. But there was actually photos of qualifying, and in the Ferrari garage was this dude in a very sort of mustard suit. It was a hideous suit. And it was another guy in like a brown suit or something. It turns out they're the Elkin brothers, and they are descendants of Enzo Ferrari.
Wow.
And one of their sons, John Elkin, is the CEO and president of Ferrari. The current guy running Ferrari.
Right.
And these two brothers, one of them runs Stellaris, which is the kind of like the Dorilton capital that runs the Fiat Dodge consortium.
Right. So they're like the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other brother, he gets the money from the Stellaris to pump into Ferrari.
Right.
Despite the fact that Ferrari is not a part of the Fiat Dodge group.
But they're owned by Fiat, aren't they?
No.
Oh.
No. They're a separate entity.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a whole bunch of confusing politics. But, yeah, Jean Todt marching off into the sunset from running the FIA.
Long storied career, man.
I have to say this, though. During his time as the FIA boss, he really didn't do much.
Yeah, you didn't hear much from him, or too much from him.
The only time he really came out popped his head out of the woodwork was...
The Halo system. He was responsible for the Halo system.
Yeah, but that was also like Chase Carey, Ross Brawn, Stefano Dominicali.
I think Ross Brawn actually was the lead runner on the Halo system.
Yeah, like it was...
And he sort of stood next to the 2022 car, but as to how much development he was involved with,
Like
I don't think he was...
Jean Todt seemed very quiet while Bernie Ecclestone was running Formula One into the ground.
Yes.
And then once Liberty Media came along, then he sort of perked up. I think he wanted to work with Liberty Media as opposed to he disliked Bernie Ecclestone because Bernie Ecclestone was just after how much money we can make out of it.
Yeah, he was looking after his rich mates, as we said in the last episode.
Yeah. And then, finally, sad news during the week with the passing of Sir Frank Williams.
Yeah.
The man who started Williams Racing.
Yeah. Started from nothing. Had his career in the 70s, and then he had his car accident, which left him a is it a triplegic?
Tetraplegic.
Tetraplegic, yeah. actually became the oldest living tetraplegic as a result. But just a determination to never give up. I mean, he was a never give up sort of guy from the start. Building the Williams brand up from nothing. I think he went broke and left the sport for a few years, and then came back and started from scratch again, which led Williams into their golden era with Mansell and all those guys. The second most successful constructor in Formula One behind Ferrari.
Yeah.
Life imitating art, and the way he never gave up as a team owner or building his team was the way he never gave up after his car crash.
Same as you never gave up until you got to your wife,
well,
his daughter.
His daughter's pretty something else. But anyway.
Well, he started the team in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
Australians actually have a really nice connection with Williams Racing because their first world championship was in 1980 when Alan Jones, the second of two Australians to win a Formula One Drivers' Championship, and he won it with Williams Racing. Same as I think it was the 82 championship with Keke Rosberg.
Mm-hmm.
1992 championship with Nigel Mansell. 93 with Prost. Killed Ayrton Senna in 94.
We can talk about that.
96 with Damon Hill, 97 with Jacques Villeneuve, which was their last championship. They won 9 Constructors' Championships. Their last race win was 2012 with the human crash man, Pastor Maldonado.
That's the flukiest fact of them all. And they held the speed. I think they might still hold the speed record at Monza.
Yes.
With Juan Pablo Montoya.
And that BMW beast.
That V10. God, that still makes me drool to this day. That car and that engine.
So many drivers have walked through the doors of Williams that have been legends, like Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, Alan Jones, Keke Rosberg, Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill, David Coulthard, Jenson Button, Juan Pablo Montoya, Nelson Piquet, Ricardo Patrese, Jacques Villeneuve, Heinz Harald Frentzen, current drivers like George Russell, Nicholas Latifi,
Valtteri Bottas.
Valtteri Bottas got his start at Williams. Pastor Maldonado, Mark Webber.
Yes, Mark Webber went through the Williams system. It's a team with a long, proud history and a man that lived a long and proud life. So,
and really put Renault on the map with their engine supply in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's sort of that's what Frank Williams gave birth to, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
As what he gave to the sport. And,
legendary.
Yeah.
Absolutely legendary.
Yeah, so
And his name will remain over the door at Williams for forever.
Yeah, Dorilton Capital has said they're not changing the name and they're going to honour the legacy of Frank Williams and the Williams family.
Absolutely.
So, R.I.P. Frank Williams.
Rest in peace, mate.
And you get to go and have a beer with Murray Walker.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Right, so moving along. It's time for the driver's standings.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know what? Because we've got Longhorn here, I'm going to step aside and he can read it.
Ooh. Big shoes to fill.
You've been quiet. You've been quiet for too long, buddy. You got caught.
Just trying to have a little nap now.
Just having a snooze in the back there.
So, at the top of the standings, we've got Verstappen on 369.5 points. How good's that 0.5?
Yeah, it gets annoying after a while.
In second, but also tied on the same amount of points as Lewis Hamilton. In third, we've got Valtteri Bottas, 218 points. Sergio Perez in fourth, 190 points. Charles Leclerc, fifth, and 158 points. Lando Norris, 6 and 154 points. Carlos Sainz, 6.
Seventh.
7th, 149.5. And that's interesting, that 3 there. That could come down to the last race. One could, like, Sainz could jump up to 5th. That could all come down to... It's going to come down to the last race where those 3 are going to finish up,
I
which
said
is
that
pretty
in the
cool.
last episode that Norris could be caught by both the Ferrari boys, and once again, fate, cruel twist of fate. I mean, he's seen him been caught now by Leclerc and almost caught by Sainz.
He's in a Ferrari sandwich now.
He's in a Ferrari sandwich. We'll see where he finishes.
Yes, it's so
Is he going to be? Is he going to be the bottom slice, the meat, or the top slice?
Oh,
I'm hoping it's the top slice, but we'll see. He's going to need some luck to change.
In 8th, we've got Danny Rick
Oh,
in
boy.
115 points. 9th, Pierre Gasly, 100 points. And to round out the top 10, we've got Fernando Alonso on 77 points.
Might I say deservedly, Fernando Alonso. For as much as I shout on you at the start of the year, you have proven your worth.
Yes.
He surprised me. At the start of the year, I thought, why do we have Fernando
why are you
Alonso back? And now I'm glad he's back.
And he's like,
I want to see him
yeah.
for as long as he can last.
He needed... I know as much as this is going to hurt Johnny, he needed to get out of McLaren.
No, I'm glad he's gone.
And he needed to get out of F1 for a couple of years.
He reset his brain, and now he's back, and he's having fun.
Yeah.
And he's driving like he's having fun.
And just because I didn't do the driver one, I'm going to hand over the team one to JB.
Excellent.
Thought you were getting away with it too.
I thought I was too, mate. So at the top, and almost wrapping this bad boy up now, of the constructors is Mercedes-AMG Petronas on 587.5 points. Second place is Red Bull Honda on 559.5 points. Third place, pretty much wrapping that up as well, Scuderia Ferrari, 307.5 points. That's enough out of you. Fourth place, and probably where they're going to stay now, in a little bit of no man's land, is McLaren F1. 269 points. Fifth place. Pretty much got that wrapped up as well. Alpine, deservedly. 149 points. Where are we? Fifth? Sixth? Fifth. Sixth. AlphaTauri, 120 points. Seventh is Aston Martin on 77. Their torrid campaign continues. Eighth, and pretty much safe, Williams on 23 points. Ninth is Alfa Romeo on 13 points. And last, and one race away from duck-egging the whole season, is Haas on 0.
I want to know, right, because Haas has got 0 points, does that mean that Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin have to do a lap around pit lane with
Naked.
pants down?
Yeah, you have to do the nudie run down the front straight. From the fucking start line down to turn 1 in Abu Dhabi, completely naked.
Oh, I was just going to do the pants down.
No.
It's like pool.
It's
if you
like-
don't sink a ball, you got to do a lap around the table as a pants down.
No, if you don't score a try in footy all year, you got to do the nudie run the length of the field. It's only fair they do the nudie run the length of the front straight for being
I should do a hot lap.
fucking fankers.
Do a hot lap.
God, that is a hot lap around Abu Dhabi naked. They should at least be able to wear shoes, I guess.
Yeah, they can wear shoes.
You can wear shoes, but that's it.
And
They
a
can
helmet.
Keep their
And a-
socks on.
And a team cap.
Or a helmet.
Helmet. Not head, we're going to tell you. We won't tell you which head you can wear the helmet on, though.
How good is it, though? Ferrari's third. I mean, last year they were, what, sixth?
Yeah.
You know?
You've sorted your shit out. McLaren just had a run of bad luck.
No, compare McLaren to a couple of years ago where you were in the Haas position.
Yeah, because we had a shit Honda engine.
Yeah, and now Red Bull's coming in second with a great Honda engine.
Yeah. But we ditched the Renault engine for the Mercedes engine, and we got the results we sort of were looking for.
Yeah, well,
Not
you
not-
guys did actually get a win this year. Ferrari hasn't
got a-
gotten a win this year.
Yeah, we got a 1-2 in Monza, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
And should have won Sochi. That's gonna hurt.
That was the start of the decline, really, wasn't
That
it?
was after Sochi. That was the end of us. Like, we haven't recovered from that. So, I mean, luck, coupled with some shitty decisions and some poor race management. But
But I mean, Ferrari Ferrari's drivers have been consistent all season.
They've probably been the most consistent outside of the top two teams.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, you know, Lando spins off in Sochi. I think Lando gets punted in turn 1 in Brazil. Danny Rick gets spun in Mexico.
And fuel saves for
and
way too long.
And fuel saves in Qatar because of a system error. So it's not entirely their fault. But, you know, these things happen in racing.
So, Longhorn, it was your first episode. How do you reckon? What do you want to come back for another one?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's good.
We'd love to have you back.
You're going to need someone to read the standings out every week.
That
could be my job.
Yeah, because it cooks my voice doing it every time.
That's it. That's why I bring the trusty bottle of water, man. You got to come prepared.
Oh, well, see, I've got to go and have a...
Oh, yeah, you're not allowed to drink.
I've got to have a... Oh, I'm allowed to drink. I'm not
you're
allowed to drink
eat.
from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Oh, that's on
So
you,
I get
buddy.
a barium swallow tomorrow.
I don't know
No,
what that
not
means.
a Barry swallow.
I don't
Not
know
a Barry swallow.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I don't know what that means, but whatever you're swallowing, you have fun.
Oddly enough, much like a Barry swallow, it's white and chalky.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
We're ending on the classy note, lads.
So, we've only got one race left this year, which is
Then
next week.
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Midnight.
Abu Dhabi.
Midnight on Sunday. You'll all be asleep, but I won't be.
No, I'll be awake.
My holiday starts at Monday morning, so I'm up.
When do you fly out?
Wednesday?
Oh, cool.
I've got 2 days off.
Right. But we've got 2 episodes left this year.
Yeah.
Because we've got next week's race, and then we've got our end of season review.
Yeah, let me know when you want to do that because I'm gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that in the gap between probably Boxing Day and New Year's.
Yes.
The very end of season review, a December 31st review or some shit.
/ preview for next year.
Exactly. Oh, we'll get to that when we see the new cars.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Well, yeah, we probably won't do a new episode in the new year till
mid-February.
testing.
Yeah,
till testing.
Livery reveals and testing,
Yeah.
much like we did this year.
Yeah.
I got to swing one in before we go. Got to send our thoughts out to Theo Pourchaire and Enzo Fittipaldi. Pretty bad crash in Formula 2 last night. Pretty much Theo Pourchaire stalled on the start line and Enzo Fittipaldi hit him up the arse at about 200 odd k's an hour. And Enzo sustained leg fractures. And Pourchaire is unlikely to start in Abu Dhabi, so we wish Enzo Fittipaldi all the best in his recovery. Pretty nasty crash. Overshadowing Oscar Piastri closing in on the Formula 2 title, but, we knew this track was going to be dangerous. I didn't think it'd be a start line crash that would bring the ambulances out, but it was. So all the best in your recovery, Enzo.
And also good luck to Oscar Piastri as well.
Yeah, close out that championship, buddy. We were cheering you on.
Yeah, can't wait to see another Australian on the F1 grid.
Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
That's it.
he just doesn't have Chinese blood money
He doesn't.
like Guan Yu Zhou,
He'll just do it on raw talent like we always do.
but like Ricardo.
Mm-hmm.
And also a special shout out. I don't know if they actually listen to the show, but shout out to the folks at a local bar venue around here called Kickstart Saloon, who unfortunately lost one of their fur children, Dave, on Saturday, because Dave and his brother Dudley were so looking forward to seeing my band come out and play that night, and then there was an unfortunate quad bike accident that took Dave's life. Poor Dudley's a little bit lost, but he's a good lad, and hopefully they'll find another rescue dog to replace Dave. So
R.I.P. little buddy.
R.I.P.
Right. So next week is Abu Dhabi. It'll come down to the wire. We're going to have a world champion. We're going to have a world champion,
but in what way are we going to have a world champion?
It-
Is it going to be a straight fight, or is we going to see some Senna Pro shit?
or is it going to be Michael Massey?
Oh, fuck.
I want
Whoa.
a straightforward fight
I
between
want
the
a,
two
I want a
teams.
proper fight. I want a proper fight. I don't even want mechanical issues.
Do Red
Oh.
Bull just bring Daniil Kvyat back in Perez's car just to torpedo?
Well, look,
Into Lewis
Sergio
Hamilton.
Perez almost like torpedoed Max, so
Yeah, he always did.
make it look like an accident, buddy. Just make sure you're on the other side of the grid.
So, anyway, so we're gonna round out today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. On behalf of myself, JB,
Yeah.
Longhorn.
Yeah.
Yes. Are these direct questions?
Yep, I should have said something a little bit more. It was off the cuff. As you can tell, this is off the cuff.
That's why we
Um,
love it.
Yep, straightforward. No crap, just sap.
No crap, just sap. That's it.
All right, until next week, thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you then. Until then, goodbye.